Welcome back to another tiny boat video. As you guys know, my hands down favorite thing to talk about, and I keep making these videos because my wife keeps slapping me when I don't shut up about tiny boats. Let's talk about the top 5 first John boat mods that I think you should make, and these are cheap, easy, anybody can do, and overall they're just going to enhance the creature comforts of a 2 to 3 style bench John boat, whether you're 10 foot, 12 foot, 14 foot, whatever. These are going to be a lot of really good, cheap, easy options to upgrade your boat. You'll have to mind the wind here a little bit. I just had a 30-minute trolling motor drive all the way into this mud hole, and it's a little bit windy today, but regardless, let's get it done. I just created a tiny boat Facebook group. I'll link that in the description. Check out my Amazon shop and all the links below, because of course I'm going to link everything that I have on this boat down below. So let's get into it. All right, the first mod I want to talk about is the most recent one I just installed, and that is the seat clamp swivel. So this is a clamp-on seat, which is really easy. It has some wing nuts, but I couldn't really get mine to secure that well to my particular plastic boat with the curved benches. But mine came with some clips, some safety clips. So those are actually bolted directly into the plastic. Same on the other side. And honestly, this thing has been a lifesaver. Now this is gonna be a little bit of a 2-in-1. The seat clamp is gonna run you about 30 bucks on Amazon. I overpaid at Walmart for 40 bucks, and it's not that great. I highly recommend the Amazon ones instead. Those look way better. And the seat itself, this is kind of out of production. I think it's not really on Amazon anymore. I can't find it anywhere, but I will link below another $50 seat. So this will run you about 30 bucks. This will run you 50 for $80. You can have a super comfortable setup. And if you fish for long periods of time like I do, having a seat is going to be a game changer. I left that one blank so that way I can still stand up even when the top's up and cast off the front bench. But this one is going to be a major game changer. So for 80 bucks, you can get a seat and a clamp, super cheap, with a link in my description, and it's just gonna help, folks. I've been using it for a day now, and it's made my life a lot better. Now, for another $80, of course, you could do it again up here, but, I like to stand up and cast, especially when I'm casting in a few feet of water sight fishing. All right, folks, let's move on to number 2, which is the clamp-on navigation lights. Now, I am gonna have to pull some other footage I took from the other day, because, as you can see, I forgot mine because it's about 8 o'clock in the morning here. But let's roll the footage from the other day. Now, let's talk about something that's less flashy, that I didn't want to spend money on, but that you should, because it's a safety concern and it's a legal concern, and that is nav lights. Now, a lot of people post in the tiny group, the tiny boat Facebook group, not the midget group, that I don't run a midget group, by the way, that they're always wondering how that they can wire it, if they can wire it in the hole, and all sorts of really complicated navigation light setups, when really they just want something to be legal in case they happen to run off, because that's what it's all about, in case. If you're planning on going out at night, you're definitely going to want it. But the clamp-ons, they're only going to run you 30 bucks. I have rechargeable batteries in them, so I don't have to constantly keep reusing the batteries, and they clamp on to pretty much anything. So let me show you. So I've got one up here. So if you're going to have a motor or a trolling motor, of course, anything's gonna need these. Your port and starboard, and you power it on by clicking a button back there. Oh, you can actually see them come on. It's pretty bright out here. It's middle of the day. And so that's, look how easy that is. I clamped it on in about 5 seconds. Now moving back here, if you have any sort of motor, you're gonna have to have the white light on the transom, because that means that you are motor powered. So if you're just in a pedal or paddle driven kayak, you don't need the white light, at least in the state of Florida. But if you do have at least a trolling motor, you're definitely going to want that white light. Now, this combo is 30 bucks, and look, it just clamps right on. And you can actually screw it in more permanently if you want a more permanent fixing on it. But these, for me, right now, they're working. We're doing an evening charter, so we're going to go all the way past sundown. So I will need those nav lights. All right, the main event, something that I thought was kind of stupid and pointless before, but absolutely my favorite, and I have it on both my tiny boats, and that is the bimini top. Listen, this thing looks great. It collapses in just seconds. If you want to watch my full bimini top video, I've got one on this boat, one on the Palm Prowler. You basically unclip these two right there. It takes about, 5 seconds, and it retracts, and you're good to cast front and back. It retracts on the front as well in case you want it the other direction. You don't even need any hardware to take it off completely. You just unscrew that, unclip the bow stern clips, and it comes right off and it goes into your garage. But overall, for $120 from Kimimoto, this bimini top has been a lifesaver. It is freaking hot in the summer, especially here in Florida, and it's just really good to have some shade. Now, on this particular boat, you can still cast up in there, but it's a little bit more difficult off the back. I will still cast a little bit, short distances, especially if I'm fishing structure or just casting out and letting my line out for some trolling. Then I can do it with a top up, but for the most part, when me and my wife or me and my friend or whoever get to the spot, we just drop it, we stand on the benches, or now I've got a seat there, and we cast. But it looks great, it provides a lot of shade, not a lot of sun, a lot of shade, and you'd be surprised at how much of a difference a little bit of shade will make when you're out on a long day fishing. This bimini top is $120. The price goes up and down. 120 is about as most as expensive as I've seen it, but overall, you're definitely gonna wanna thank me for this one because the bimini top is a huge, huge plus, and I think I'm gonna have one on all my boats from here on out. Even if I don't use it in the winter, even if I don't use it for fishing, just going to and from and just having a nice place to beach the boat, take some shade, and have some lunch when the midday sun's pouring straight down. My wife absolutely loves it. Oh, look at that, I do have my nav lights. I have one at least. I know I don't have the other, but let's move on to the next one, and that is a manual bilge pump. This pump is awesome because John boats, you know, you can, if you have an aluminum one, you can install an automatic bilge pump, which is super handy, but especially on this plastic one, that's not really an option. I mean, you can, but you have 3 separate compartments. It's not like the aluminum where the water pools under the benches and goes to the stern. No, you got to get the water out of every single compartment if you take any on, and that's when this manual bilge pump comes in handy. Whether you're taking water on via waves over the bow, whether you just, I don't know, get some water in it, spill something, bring in a lot of fish, whatever. I get water in this boat just bringing in fish, so it definitely happens. But if there's an emergency downpour or you just stuff your boat for whatever reason in some big waves, it's definitely, this can be the difference between saving your boat and not saving your boat. And it's just nice to have. It's like a nice peace of mind no matter what happens. In fact, there's a storm blowing in right now, and if it starts pouring on me, this baby's going to overtime. It's cheap, it puts out a lot of water, and it's about 30, 35, 40 bucks depending on where you get it. I'll try to find you the cheapest link. It's probably gonna be on Amazon, but the manual bilge pump is an absolute must, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you get it, especially if you have this particular model of John boat. It's just nice peace of mind. You're gonna want it, and it's cheap, might as well. Honestly, this is probably good for any boat without any bilge pump, or especially like an automatic bilge pump like a traditional boat. This is just nice in case even that fails. Nice insurance policy. Everybody could get some use out of this manual bilge pump. Next up, I want to talk about the fish finder. Now, I have not found a dedicated spot for my fish finder on this boat, so we're just raw dogging it with no mount, but I have the Garmin Striker 4. Get up in here. As you can see, my boat is freaking dirty. Every time I'm like, all right, let's pull it out to clean it, I end up just going fishing and it just gets dirtier and dirtier. All right, so here's the fish finder I have. It's the Garmin Striker 4. I really like it. It shows you all the vital information. Obviously, we're beached right now, so it's not giving me a whole lot of readouts, but it gives you the water temperature, your speed, your voltage. Of course, there's a clock. You show your depth, which is very helpful, as well as I have the compass setting on, and there's a few different functions, few different screens, but I won't bore you with the details of the specific fish finder. But it also, of course, marks fish when you're in deeper water. I don't use that a whole lot just because I usually fish the flats, but for $120, you can add a screen to your simple aluminum or plastic boat. Simply just makes it look a lot better, and it's great information to have. I absolutely love the fish finder. Didn't think I really needed or wanted one, but I got one anyway, and I absolutely love it. It just connects right up to my battery next to my terminals where my trolling motor plugs in, and boom, I got a screen. Makes the boat look great, although I don't have it mounted right now. I think I'm gonna run some wires and mount it up there. Not sure yet, but the fish finder is absolutely epic, especially for only 120 bucks. It's about the cheapest one on the market, and hey, get them used if you can. I love John boats because they're cheap and simple, and that is the theme of all these mods. Cheap, simple, anybody can install, anybody can do. It doesn't take any skill to do any of this. You don't even need to pre-drill into the plastic. I drill pilot holes, but I found out you can literally just screw right in, use some marine adhesive and sealant and super glue, and you're good to go. Those are my top 5 first John boat mods you should do. Stay tuned for when we add decking, outboards, bow-mounted trolling motor, all sorts of fun foam, extra seats, just the whole 9 yards. But I wanted to make this video before we commence all the advanced mods because, well, here's the first 5 that I think you should do. Join the Tiny Boat Talk Facebook group. Check out all the links below to everything I have mentioned and then some. I'm about to push back off and we're gonna go redfish fishing in here. I caught my last big redfish in the pond prowler. Well, not my, I've caught probably 20 to 30 redfish since then, but the last one I got in a tiny boat was the prowler. So stay tuned for today's mission. I'll throw in a trout I caught. Woo! Oh yeah, baby. You know what that means. Trout. Oh, but I gotta reel them a long way, folks. It is crystal clear. There's a bird. I thought my GoPro just shut off. It is crystal clear, so I was probably 50 yards behind the boat. So I'm not gonna work him in too much because I just think it's a little trout, but I told you we get a trout, man. But I don't know why I don't really count trolling. I do, obviously, but I don't know. I like watching him eat and setting the hook, you know what I'm saying? All right, little trout, come on now. There he is. Well, if he's still on now, he must be hooked pretty decent. Please be of a decent size. It really does not feel decent at all. Not fighting too hard. Now he is. Oh, that's a decent trout. Yeah, that's a decent guy, actually. No way. Good job. And he's got followers, dude. He's got more. What the heck? Whoa, buddy. You got more with you? Yeah, this is actually a decent trout. Oh, yeah. And that's all jacked up. All right. That's a pretty decent trout if I've seen one. Nice, baby. Really did not put up that much of a fight, but he was about 50 yards behind the boat, so. Oh, nice, 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 nice. That's what we like to see. Happy boating, tight lines, and God bless.